Hey, what's up? This is Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice, just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Hycroft Mining, ticker symbol HYMC. And so in this video, I'm just going to do a brief update on some of the lines that I had previously drawn, as well as a couple that I added. And then also I'm going to get into a little bit of due diligence on the company. Okay, and so first, what we have here is, you can see in light and gray, these bear channels, these bearish consolidation that I had previously gone over, breaks to the downside. Also, these yellow lines mark a parallel channel that the stock had previously been trading in, currently outside of that. And then this red line at the bottom is at $1.50. And for me personally, that is my buy area. I do think that the price will come down, in all honesty. And so I'm going to basically go over my reasoning for that in just a second. And then let's see, one thing that is bullish about this that I haven't talked about before is this blue line at $2.97, which was the low on October 25th. So that represents a gap to the upside that needs to be filled. So I do expect that that will be filled at some point, but I do feel that it will be coming down before going up to that level. And so in previous videos, I have graded out here, but there is a line at $2.16.1, which is based on the close of October 30th. I had, in this area, noticed that there were no closes above that level, so that to me seemed like it was a level of resistance. However, since on November 15th, the close was at $2.18, $2.16.1 wasn't really the best level to draw. And so I've revised that with this orange line here at $2.19 based on the open of November 10th. And so since that day, there have been no closes above that line. There was one open above that line, but so far no closes. The highest close was on November 29th at $2.17 with a high of $2.20. So still no closes above that level, even though there were a couple wicks that did go above. Let's see, this one's 220. 220 as well. So, really we need to see a close above that level. And so the last close above 219 or 220 was on November 9th, which the close was at $2.21.7. And that was just a few days before the reverse split occurred, when we had this big move to the upside. And so on that day, the low was $1.63. So I do expect that to be revisited. But for me, as I had mentioned, I'm waiting for $1.50. And from the experience that I've had with Hycroft, patience has paid off. So that's just my standpoint. If $1.50 is never hit, that is, fine with me. I will cheer on everybody else, and I will continue to cover the stock regardless of what happens. And so, on that note of patience paying off, before I get into the due diligence, I just want to take a step back, zoom out, and I want to point out this blue line here that's at $13.90, and that is an adjusted price following the recent reverse split. And so, looking at this chart, I was first introduced to Hycroft around this time when there was this big squeeze going on. And, as an AMC and GME shareholder, I was really intrigued by this because of the ape community, stuff like that. And, that experience for me has really taught me not just to think about the short term, but also think about the long term and actually investing in companies, being a part of them, being a part of the community. And, while I want to diamond hand everything I touch, unfortunately, that's not the reality. And so when this was up here, I picked up a very, very small position. And I, basically waited because I had noted this gap to the downside. And I told myself, I'm just going to wait eventually that gap's going to be filled, and then I'll establish a position. And so I waited I thought I had imagined it was months, but I guess it felt like months. Maybe just let's see, from the end of March to the end of April, so just a month, I guess. But it felt like a long time waiting for that. And so I waited for that gap to be filled. And actually, it's quite possible. I don't remember exactly. It's possible I noticed this gap down here, and maybe I waited for that, so I might be mistaken with this one, because it did feel like a very long time. But anyways, I waited and I waited, and then I was able to get my average down considerably, and I did swing trade, so I'm currently not holding. And I was able to make money with that, even though it seems, like it's just been going down for so long. And, that for me really was a great lesson in having more confidence in myself and my technical analysis and my patience, and that it does pay to be patient. So those are, I guess, some personal reasons why I'm interested in the company. But now I'll get on to some more of the business side of things. So this is a video that was released here. I'll scroll down so you can see the title of it. This was a video that was released by Hycroft Mining. You can follow them, subscribe to them on YouTube. I will include a link to this video in the description. And this is Diane Garrett, the CEO. She just goes over kind of a breakdown of the life cycle of a mining company, a mining stock. And she makes the case that Hycroft is in two phases, one being the exploration phase and two being the engineering phase. And so following these two phases, there can be a considerable upside. And this is based on the Lassonde curve, which I don't really know too much about, but I just pulled this up. I think this is a pretty nice graphic. Basically, the initial phase, this is where all of the risk comes in. Is there gold there? Is there silver there? They also have to be investing in a lot of their equipment, things like that, to be discovering the minerals there. And also there's a funding risk. And so with that, AMC has, I will pull it up here in a second, but is a part owner now of Hycroft. And so really that's, what turned me on to the company. And so with that funding, they've been able to do more exploration, more discovery. And, with that being in this middle phase, which I forget how she referred to it, engineering phase, they've been able to not only discover, but also make advancements, get permits, things like that. So I do think that they're a pretty well-positioned mining company. However, they have not started the production phase of it. And that's really where all the money is made. But at the point, if we're here at the bottom, or I guess this trough, there is potential for 5 to 10x upside, but also considering that we're still in the discovery phase, there is some downside associated with this process. So yeah, I just find it pretty interesting, compelling. I did not know anything about mining any minerals before getting involved in Hycroft. So I think that's just compelling and interesting. And some news from Hycroft. Oops, that's spoiler. So Hycroft, this came out, November 16th, so just recently. Hycroft drills the best hole ever, discovers new high-grade silver. And so getting on to that spoiler, in this hole that they just drilled, they found silver that I have marked in blue and purple, which is, ranging from hundreds to thousands in purple grams per ton of silver. And so, spoiler alert, I guess with the title of this, it's high grade. So that's pretty good. But then also gold, I kind of associate Hycroft with a gold mining company. But based on this, I'll give you a clue to if this is high grade or not as far as the gold goes. The title kind of gives it away. But I had thought of them as a gold mining company, but really they are doing a lot with silver. And I think that could be really, really good. And I'll show you that in a second here, why I think that could be really great for the company. And so just to get an idea, how many grams per ton of silver is good. So 30 to 150 grams per ton of silver is average grade. Over 150 grams per ton of silver is high grade. And so, as I had mentioned, it's hundreds to thousands grams per ton of silver. So not only is that high grade silver, that's really high grade silver. And while I should note that these areas are not that big, I imagine, as far as mining goes, they are still discovering. And so I think that there's a lot of potential, not just with gold, but also with silver. So I find this to be compelling. And then looking into gold, how many grams per ton of gold is good? And so 0 to 5 gold grams per ton is low grade. And so basically what we have here is they found some low-grade gold. So it's really not that exciting, probably not the best news in that sense. But, I think it's really good that they're not just focusing on one element, one mineral. They are also doing silver. And I believe I recall them also talking about, I think sulfuric acid is a byproduct of mining, and they're also turning that into profits as well. So I think that they're a pretty resourceful company, and so I'm compelled, but also I'm clearly biased. And then thinking about silver, what are some, not just jewelry and stuff like that. I think that's what we all think about when we think about gold, silver, things like that. But what are the industrial uses of silver? And Diane has talked about this kind of stuff. A few things I have highlighted: solar power. So the green revolution. You might think, oh, mining's bad, but part of the green revolution, the green transition, I guess I should say, is finding elements for doing solar voltaics, things like that. And silver plays an important role in that. Also with engines. So that's, part of the old way, I guess. If we're thinking about electric motors as being new, we also do have, combustion engines, things like that. Silver, I guess, plays a role in that. As also energy, very important, green transition, electronics and medical equipment. Just thinking about industries that are profitable, industries that Hycroft could be making a lot of money with. And then also, finally, as I had mentioned this before, on March 15th, 2022, AMC announced buying 22% of Hycroft Mining. And so, I just think that's really cool that, you get into this stuff because of memes or because there's a pandemic going on and you're alone, bored at home. And, I've just learned so much the past few years about investing, about trading, about community. And, I'm really excited about the future of Hycroft. I don't necessarily plan to hold everything that I scoop up for long term, but, I do plan to hold a good amount of it because I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the chart and what's been happening, and I think that there will be a really, really, really good discount here because since we have not been able to break above 219, or I guess not even go above 220. I do think that this is going to be more bearish consolidation, and it will break down. Perhaps, December 18th, where there's an intersection of the top of this channel and this red line. I think that could be a nice dip buy. And so, I'm getting prepared for that. But, you do you. And, if you found this video helpful, make sure you like it, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching and the suggestion of this video. Take care.